evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Flood. Youth between the ages of 15 and 25 will once again have a chance to work directly with MP and newly announced Minister of Indigenous Services Patty Hajdu on issues affecting the country as a whole. The 7th annual Thunder Bay Superior North Youth Council applications have officially opened, as youth interested can apply up until November 23rd. Chosen applicants will not only get to work directly with Member of Parliament for the region Patty Hajdu, but also meet for approximately 15 to 25 in-person and online discussions on local and national issues. Hannah Caruana was previously involved as a youth in the council, and Hajdu says the Youth Council is always an amazing chance for the youth to get involved on important topics in the country.
Oftentimes they are issues that are very relevant to the country. So for example, climate change, climate resiliency, issues around equity and fairness and racism, things that really matter to young people but also matter to the country. So it's really, really helpful to me. I can represent the young voices from my riding so much better if I'm hearing directly from them.
Being able to sit together and collaborate on solutions, because although we're the youth today, we are the future tomorrow, and making for sure that our voices are heard and our minister is sitting alongside us was really impactful and important to youth today.
Residents from Thunder Bay Superior North can apply now by visiting the website and filling out the application. A public art mural was revealed at a community event on Wednesday, led by the Youth in Solidarity Against Racism and Hate Project on Cook Street, after being put together for most of the summer. Mitchell Ringos has the details.
The project is the culmination of the work accomplished in the first year of a 2-year project funded through the Ministry of the Solicitor General. The launch event featured many partners who spoke about the new mural and the impact it will make in the downtown North Core. Solidarity Collective Coordinator J.L. Chung says this project aims to promote young artists in an art piece that has a deep meaning to Thunder Bay.
Youth want these opportunities, safer spaces to connect with each other, opportunities to create and express themselves through art. Art brings people together. Art inspires change.
The mural located on Cook Street is a youth-led and developed project that has the goal of strengthening their collective voice to challenge racism, discrimination, and hate. The group of artists spent most of the summer finishing their art pieces to complete the massive mural, brightening up the downtown core. We spoke to some of the artists about the mural and what it means to them to take part in such a meaningful project.
Being young and being, in the BIPOC community, it's important for us to come together and create these conversations and talk about, things that are happening with our community.
Well, it just brought young people together and brought us out of our homes in the time when we were completely trapped for months, years. And it just allowed us to express ourselves and what we were feeling through that whole period.
My piece is celebrating individuality with Indigenous youth, and it was really an honor to work on it alongside a bunch of amazing artists.
I have a saying above the piece that says community over commodity. We're in the downtown district, and we have people that are around every day in these streets, and as we're moving forward into new business ventures and whatnot downtown, we can't forget that this is people's homes.
Hajdu in Anishinaabe means mutual love, and so I just want to express my love to this community and especially to my Indigenous brothers and sisters.
And in addition to the launch of the Youth in Solidarity Against Racism and Hate public art mural, Good & Co Market also opened their new Collab art exhibition, which will showcase Petrichor, a new Solidarity Collective inaugural exhibition. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
With approval of vaccinations for kids aged 5 to 11 soon coming, the district's medical officer of health says their clinics might soon be busy immunizing young children and also administering booster shots. Dr. Janet DeMille expects third dose eligibility to open to all adults in January, and youth clinics could be close behind. So far, Pfizer and Moderna have both been approved for booster shots, with only Pfizer submitting their vaccine for the 5 to 11 age group. DeMille says when they are allowed to immunize kids, it will impact the number of appointments for those seeking booster shots.
Encouraging people who are eligible to get into our clinic early, sort of even this week or next if they're eligible, so that because the number of appointments we'll be able to provide for boosters will be less.
Canada's top doctor expects the Pfizer vaccine to be approved for children by the end of November. The Ontario government's choice to not further challenge a Court of Appeal decision on the Student Choice Initiative is a relief, according to the president of the Lakehead University Student Union. The recent directive to halt the initiative means students will no longer be able to opt out of paying union fees. L.U.S.U President Lahama Naeem says the opt-out plan limited the services they could offer, such as the study coffee house, bursaries, and student-run clubs. Impacts this year were minor, as they had budgeted for a situation like this, but the longer it went on, more cuts would have been necessary.
We were forced to, not perhaps give out the same amount of funding that we would have in usual years. We continued to try and support our clubs as best as we could, but I think that with not having that stress on our shoulders anymore, it's nice to know that student clubs are going to be able to go back to functioning the way they did before. And in the long run, I think student life is a big piece of being a university student, and I think the Student Choice Initiative really would have hurt that.
Naeem calls it a weight off their shoulders after an already stressful pandemic put the pressure on students and L.U.S.U. Shop and Vax is back in Toronto as the city continues its efforts to get COVID-19 vaccine doses into the arms of eligible residents. This 4-day campaign is taking place at dozens of malls and neighborhood clinics across the provincial capital until Sunday.
It's an open-door policy at this vaccination clinic at Stockyards Village Shopping Centre in the Junction, one of 15 Shop and Vax locations across the city this weekend.
We're down to that stage of the campaign now where we're doing it 1 by 1, 10 by 10, 100 by 100, but it's making a difference.
According to Mayor John Tory, Toronto needs 57,000 more people to get their first shot to hit the 90% mark in the city. And 150,000 people have to get their second shot to reach 90% of Torontonians fully vaccinated.
And then the lead up to the December holidays with Hanukkah and Christmas, we're going to see a lot more of these clinics in malls.
263 people are in Ontario hospitals with COVID today, 56 more than yesterday. 131 of them are in intensive care, one more than the day before.
Whereas in December of last year, it was extremely uncommon for me to see someone in their 30s and 40s. Now it's much less common. And it's in part because of vaccination rates in those particular age groups.
And with winter approaching, health officials are keeping a close eye on the data locally and abroad.
Other parts of the world which are highly vaccinated, like Germany and the Netherlands, are setting records for their number of cases this week over the entire pandemic. So it can happen there. It can definitely happen here.
Signs the pandemic isn't over yet.
A report by the Integrity Commissioner for Marathon has found that an angry home visit by Mayor Rick Dumas violated the municipality's code of conduct. Dumas went to a local residence to speak to a homeowner regarding a post on social media where the poster suggested the town's belated lowering of the Ontario flag following the discovery of hundreds of graves at former residential schools was an expression of racism. The report states while speaking with the individual, Dumas raised his voice to the point that he was considered yelling by a neighbor, which violated the section of the code that requires elected officials to behave professionally with constituents. Dumas says he is proud of the work the township has done to improve relations with area First Nations and can get passionate about topics he cares about, but he accepts the findings of the report.
He elevated in my voice. I didn't deny that in any means. And I felt that I was doing the right thing to protect the community's integrity. But at this case, as the commissioner stated, we must hold ourselves to a higher esteem than the constituents we represent. So in that being said, that's where the guilt comes from my behavior through the code of conduct. And I accepted the report, and I thanked the commissioner.
Council had the option of penalizing Dumas, but instead chose to endorse the recommendation in the report that the mayor and all members of council undergo training and ethical behavior and the code of conduct. The report also rejected the allegation that the mayor, quote, engaged in a systemically racist way by failing to lower the provincial flag. The 15th annual Coats for Kids distribution is once again back in the Victoriaville Mall at the perfect time, as winter is fast approaching and staying warm is essential. The annual Coats for Kids event run by the OECTA Elementary Unit, the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board, and the Catholic Principals Council of Thunder Bay started collecting winter wear at schools in October, where they were overjoyed with the amount of donations provided. The donated jackets, hats, and mitts were cleaned and then transported to the Victoriaville Mall, where they were then put on racks and ready to go for opening day. OECTA Human Rights Committee co-chair Sarah Pulowski says that not everyone can afford winter clothes, especially during the pandemic, so having this annual service is vital.
Really important for people in Thunder Bay to know that we are all together in this pandemic, and that people with need can come and pick up a coat and pick up some outerwear and just have a little chat. It's really nice to have a connection with the people who come and take the coats that have been donated.
Opening day ran from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon and will run from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. through November 15th to the 20th. Coats for Kids, a great campaign here in Thunder Bay, joined with Kurt Black. Kurt, a couple great campaigns we saw this weekend as well in Lakehead basketball action.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. You know, the Thunderdome, it was rocking last night as both the men's and women's basketball team returned home for the first time in nearly 2 years. But was it a triumphant return? Stay tuned and find out.